Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago, our God heaven can't hold. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord. Sing, oh, come, all ye faithful. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem, and come and behold Him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord. God of God, light of light, lo, He abhors not the virgin's womb. Very God, begotten, no created. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord. And sing choirs of angels, sing in exaltation. Sing, all ye citizens of heaven above, and glory to God, glory in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord.
Thank you very much, Becky and the band. Welcome to Why Christmas. Thank you for joining us this evening. And if you are watching this for the first time, what am I on about? If you are watching this and you have not seen any of the streams from YCC before, then you are extremely welcome. Thank you for joining us. I have got Dean here to my right, and Dean is going to be sharing his story with us later. So do you want to say hi, Dean, and let us know what you had for breakfast today, because you know that, don't you?
Hey, what's up, YCC? DJ Dean in the house. Big up for the boys in Askin Bride. I'm only joking, guys. I'm only joking. So basically, I'm here as a guest of Lewis to speak about my journey, and why Christmas matters to me, why it's so important in my life. What I had for breakfast? Ooh, actually, I was watching the service this morning, and during my breakfast, Simon's jokes were killing me. and I choked on all the food I was eating, so it's gone a bit of a blur, but it was a good breakfast.
Good. And unfortunately, I am not going to be saying as many jokes as Simon because I don't want to embarrass him. And we've also got Josh here. So Josh is our YouTube live stream monitor. Josh, yeah, let's have a clap for Josh. And Josh, do you want to tell us anything that's happening on the live stream right now?
Yeah, so we've got loads of people in on the live stream right now, which is really exciting. And if you do have any questions going forward about Dean's story, then please do send them in, and I'll be able to be your advocate tonight and ask Dean, the very man himself.
Well, it's great to have you, Josh. Let's have a round of applause again for Josh. There we go. So let's get started. Dean, we're going to have a bit of a quiz to start off with. So Dean's got 3 questions, and I guess 2 of them are a lie, and 1 of them is the truth.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a bit of a vote here and see how we go on. There we go. Can we get the first question up on the screen? Dean, do you want to read it out, and let's go.
Yeah, so when I came across these questions, one of the things I had to do first was a big hi to my daughter, who's actually sitting out of bed. She should be in bed, so hi, Kate. I love you very much. Don't be staying up too late. Right, so now we got that over. So the first question is, which of the following medals did I receive? So I received a medal once. So the first one was it from Sebastian Coe as a disabled athlete? Was it from a Radio 1 award for the Northern DJ of the Year? Or was it from the Queen for bravery in the line of duty when I was in the police in Northern Ireland?
Ooh, it's a tricky one. So we'll go over to the band first, right? Anyone over there got? Yeah, you've never met Dean before, but any?
I have heard Dean do some DJing in the past, so I'm going to go with the DJ one. That's my vote.
I'm going to second that.
C.
Tech team thinks C.
Okay, Dean. Tech team is saying C. So what do you want to go for?
Well, I did like that. I didn't think I was that good, but yeah, good God, could have gone for that. But it's actually from the Queen. I got a medal for Queen's Gallantry medal from Queen herself.
Great work. So can we have the second question, please?
Okay. So after my illness, I was in a wheelchair near enough full time, but overnight I stopped using it, and so there was to make a choice of the 3 as to why I stopped. 1, so I was going to a Justin Bieber concert, and on the night they ran out of the wheelchairs. 2, because I was going on holiday to Rome, and I had forgotten to book my wheelchair into the cargo. And the 3rd one was because my wife wanted me to buy her something really special from a shop which wasn't wheelchair friendly.
Okay, well, I know the answer to this one, so I'm not going to share my answer. So, Josh, what do you think?
It has to be the Justin Bieber concert, really, doesn't it? That's where we'd all be.
I think we all want it to be that.
Okay, so band, what do you?
I don't think you'd go to the Bieber concert.
Oh, please.
It seems like an old school romantic to me, so I'm going to go with the wife one, buying your wife a present.
Right, Dean, do you want to let us know your answer?
Actually, I was going to Rome. So I've been on the wheelchair, and Rome was up and down, and I said I was a real big panic, and my wife said, right, can't take the wheelchair, I haven't booked it in. So that forced me to come out of the wheelchair, never looked back since.
Cool. And 3rd question.
Now, anybody who knew me before, I used to have really short hair, and especially my DJ days, I used to get a haircut once a week, really once a week, shaved up, back and sides. Then I started to grow it. But why? So the first reason was when my wife found out she was pregnant with our first child, I agreed not to have it cut until they were born. The second was because my wife developed a crush on Brad Pitt in the film Troy, if anybody's seen it. And I thought to myself, oh, yeah, I'm going to go for this one. So I decided to grow it. And then the 3rd one was because my hairdresser left her profession and retrained to be a butcher.
I think it must be C because your hair's still long, so you must not have another hairdresser. So I'm going to go for C. Anyone else?
I'm going for C just because I really want it to be true.
Josh?
I don't think Brad Pitt's got anything on you, Dean. I don't know why you have to do that.
I like
I
that,
don't think it's
Josh. I
B.
like that.
Right, what's the answer, Dean?
Well, it was actually when my wife fell pregnant, and I said, right, tell you what, it was a sort of, like you say this, I'm going to test myself, because it was I just got it cut once a week, and I thought, right, I'm not going to do it, and hopefully it'll give the safety for the pregnancy, the full term, and I've grown it ever since. And that was, Kate will be 4 in February.
Wow, 4 years. Amazing. So thanks for that, Dean. Round of applause if you got the answers right. Did anyone get it right in the live chat, or we had no
No guesses as of yet.
guesses as of yet? Well, I expect to see some more flooding through in a second. So, Dean, we heard from the first question that you were a DJ. What else? Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself? Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so born in Singapore, came across to Ireland in '69. Not going to tell you my age, but kind of work it out. So grew up in Londonderry, Northern Ireland, and I found myself doing a lot of sport. And wasn't great academic, but sport was really quite good for me. I did lose my mum and dad from a very young age, and was adopted into a family, my aunt and uncle in Northern Ireland. So sport was a place of sort of refuge for me, because I had that loss, and I did excel in it. So from junior right up to senior level, I competed in Irish schoolboys and to senior level for Northern Ireland for many years at senior level. There's a photograph of me there competing somewhere, I think it was somewhere in Europe. So it was really something I really enjoyed myself in, and I travelled quite a bit and got to know people. It was great. And then after that, during all this, of course, I was in the police in Northern Ireland. I did that for a full term, and made really good friends. Saw a lot of hard times, but there was a lot of good things in it as well. Gave me a lot of experience in life, and saw a lot of things that were pretty sore in the eye. But it's like everything else, you learn from it. You really do from it. I retired of the force, and I've always loved music, all types of music, and I found myself falling in with a friend, and he was a DJ. He was a bedroom DJ, and I used to just watch him do it, and I just watched him how he used to mix the 2 decks, and I just took to it, and before I knew it, it was something I picked up. So I'd left the place, come over to England, and found myself starting to DJ, and so kind of worked my way up. Did a couple of clubs, got friendly with one of the promoters, and then through time, you just sort of learn your skill, you home in on your skill, and you get to know people. And I started my own event, and I was living the life. It was great, I owned my own event. I used to take it to Ibiza, DJed in Sweden, in Canada. So life was on the crest. I was like really enjoying myself. Just really, it was just a big party time for me. And the
Did you have any faith at that point? Did you know Jesus?
Well, actually, I was typically brought up in Sunday school, went to church, but I was sort of put on us. We did RE in school, but when I grew up as a young adult, I didn't know the gospel. I didn't know who Jesus was. Never, I'm not saying it wasn't explained to me, but I never got it. It just didn't hit me. It didn't penetrate as to what the meaning of it was. And certainly, when I left and joined the police, when I was cadet 16, there was no follow-up in that at all. But I did believe in God in some shape or form. I used to pray, actually, but there was no depth in it. And certainly the person of Jesus didn't have any meaning to me at all. So, you can see this photograph there. And when we went to Ibiza every year, I was taking up to about 250 people from Leeds there. So I think, although this sounds a bit of an indulgence, it sort of sets it up as to what my life was like before. I had a bit of hardship, growing up. There was loneliness there. There was loss of parents. And I think that shapes you. That shapes you into a person that you come and you hide behind stuff. But then I woke up one day and everything came to a crash.
You can see a photo
Yeah.
now of you in the hospital. And we're going to go into, Dean, you're going to talk us about through that in a second. But first, we're just going to go to the band. We're going to have a bit of a break and we'll go to some more music. So, yeah, over to the band.
Little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in the dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight.
Oh, morning stars together proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to men on earth. For Christ is born of Mary, and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wondering love.
How silently the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of his hand. No ear may hear his coming, but in this world of sin, where meek souls still receive him still, the dear Christ enters in.
O holy child of Bethlehem, descend to us, we pray. Cast out our sin and enter in, be born in us today. We hear the Christmas angels and great glad tidings tell. Oh, come to us, abide with us, our Lord Emmanuel.
Thanks, band, again. So, yeah, in a second we'll go back to the rest of Dean's story. But first I'm going to go to Josh. Any live stream action?
Yeah, we've got a great question from Brian Wotton. He has asked, Dean, do you follow a football team?
I don't actually follow a team as such, but I heard in the news that Manchester United trashed Leeds. And today, and I thought to myself, should I say to these guys here, being all Yorkshire and all that there? Lewis seemed very happy. I don't know what politically that means, but
Thrilled.
I don't actually follow a team, but it was sad to see that Leeds lost today.
Such a shame. So, yeah, I'm a Manchester United fan. Josh, you're a Manchester United fan, aren't you?
Till I
So-
die.
Yeah, so unlucky Leeds fans. So, right, Dean. Any more questions? Please send them in to Josh, and we'll try and answer them if the subject crops up. So, Dean, you told us about ending up in hospital, and as you can we can see on the screen again. Do you want to tell us what happened? And yeah.
Yeah, this photograph was taken around October 2010. So basically, this is my wife, Kirsty, and we had only been out of each other for about 6 weeks, up to that, 6-7 weeks. I woke up and ended in A&E in LGI in Leeds. So basically what happened was I contracted septicemia. Unfortunately, they didn't pick up on it, and they put me on a ward for observations. And next morning, I went into septic shock. The crash team came out, took me up to ICU, where I was fighting for my life. I was incapable of supporting myself, so they put me in an induced coma, which I was in, I think, for about 10 days or something like that. And it was a rough thing for Kirsty, certainly, because, like I said, she only met me about 7 weeks. So I was fighting for my life. I had 5% chance of living, and that was it. They were saying the most likely, I would hardly make it, and if I did make it, I would be in a terrible state. So, but there was a lot of prayers went out. My wife, she was a Christian at that stage, and I hadn't, as you can see from my previous life. I wasn't following faith. I'd fallen away from faith, and she had a lot of people praying for me. I had people praying for me in America, which I didn't even know until months and months later, because during that time in hospital, we tied it all in through a cousin of mine. Said that an aunt and uncle foreign living in America, they had an urge to pray for me, and they didn't even know my situation. They didn't even know I'd fallen ill. They didn't even know I was in hospital. And they rang up my aunt and they said, "Oh, we just housed Dean's," and then they explained the situation. Or they felt the urge to pray for me. So it's quite uncanny, really, if you especially if you're not a Christian and you don't understand faith, the power of prayer. And that's only one example I could say of many that I wouldn't have time to talk about, but that one stands out. Kirsty brought people from the St. George Church, and they were praying on my bedside. I was in a coma, didn't know what was going on, but I did come round, and when I came round, I had at that stage been totally maxed out in all the medication that they could give me. I was able to take anything else. And so I was just supporting myself at that stage. You couldn't support me anymore. But whenever I came round, my medication, I came completely off it, which was, again, they never seen anything like that, they said. And it was like something really they weren't familiar with. They didn't know where it was going to go. So it was a very slow recovery for me. And that's when the hardship really kicked in, because I had recovered from that ICU crisis in HDU. I was there for about 3 months. And then in November, I had no further course of action but to have my legs below my knees, my right hand and digits of my left hand to be amputated. And you can see that I had necrotic around my nose. But at that point, my wife said actually it wasn't too bad because I had a big nose anyway, so maybe it wasn't a bad thing. But that's another story. Anyway, yeah, so when I came out of hospital, it was really hard, because you're in a bubble. You're in a real bubble when you're in hospital. You get the staff's looking after you. They care for you. You've got 24/7 care. Went back, and Kirsty and I had to fumble our way through it. I was in terrible pain. I hadn't been walking. I had no legs, nothing. She was washing me, toileting me, everything, my whole dignity, everything gone. And that's when my life really crumbled. That's when I really struggled. I had anxiety, depression, and I just didn't feel where there was a future for me. Kirsty, a really attractive girl. We'd met each other and we were having a great time. And we were early stages of falling in love, and that was taken away from me. And my life before, now this is why it was so important to show you my life before. My life was so laid out and that I had it all. I had this DJ, I had status, I had, competing for Northern Ireland, talking about going to the Queen, got a medal from the Queen. You get all that taken from you. That's your identity. That's what you rely on. That's what your whole life is about. People know you. They recognize you as being this great person. And that puffs you up. That's what gives you your meaning in life. And that's where my life was. That was me, my identity. But I think behind all that, I was probably hiding behind a lot of pain because I'd lost my mum and dad. And what we do, I think, we overcompensate. We cover our sadness, even sometimes got shame, we got guilt. And even like bereavement or abandonment, which I thought, happened to me because my mum died from a very young age. So I cloaked it with all these other things, and probably that was a lot of the reasons why I was quite successful in all the things, but inside it was never right, There was always an itch, there was always something wrong. I was always looking for the next fix. I was always looking for something better. No matter what I was doing, it could never be right. Carpet was totally wiped out under my feet, and I had nowhere to go. And I was just at home. And I thought, well, this world would be a better place without me. And if I had the bravery, I probably, I would have ended it because I just had no hope, absolutely no hope.
So when did you? You said that people were praying for you when you were in hospital and stuff. And when did you realise that that prayer? You feel that prayer helped you? Saved your life. When did you realise that, or was it a few months later, or? Was there anything that happened while you were in hospital?
I think, my understanding is everybody's different. If we get to know God, we make time to get to know God, He treats us individually. He doesn't. It's not like one glove fits all, because I think He's a personal God. And I think what He does is He looks at you, He looks at what makes you tick, He looks at the way that you process, and He works with you. Because of the way I was, I think I had a lot of rough edges for Him to work into my life. So I resisted. Even when I came out of all that, I was in a place where I relied on myself to try and bounce back, because that's what I did all my life, adult life. So I was a hard nut to crack. I really was. Even after losing my legs, I was still trying to fight back. And to be truthful, the prayer thing, I appreciated it because I think I was introduced to Christianity as a kid when I came over here going to school, which I actually think is really important on looking back on it, because these are just little seeds that I think to myself, oh yeah, I remember this, I remember that. But the prayer thing didn't really, there was no revelation at the time. It was more, okay, there's something in that. It was a little bit down the line when I actually thought to myself, I remember hitting a crisis. I was actually, because I went after I came out of hospital, I tried going back to DJ, and I did it for a bit and that, and it was just something really simple. After what I look at my life, what I've been through, I was getting ready to go out to do an event, and I had my legs off, and I was still in a wheelchair. I wasn't even walking, but I had aesthetic legs to sit in a wheelchair. And I just changed my shoes, and I was sitting trying to tie my laces, and I must have been doing it for about half an hour, 40 minutes. I just broke down. Now, this is somebody who's been through a lot, previous life, and it took a pair of laces, the frustration. It broke me. I was crying on the floor. I was broken, and I remember I said, God, I can't do this anymore. I really can't. I need you. I had this conversation with Him. I remember that very distinctly. And from that moment on, I actually looked towards Him. Kirsty was great because she was a Christian, and she had a lot of strife through her time, and she found God through her own difficulties in life. She opened her heart to Him. So for me, it was like I had to hit that really rock bottom. People would think, oh, you've hit rock bottom, you've lost your legs, that's it. But no, I think what God does is He wants to heal you, but He wants you to be really looking for transformation within. He doesn't want you to say, "Oh, no." We'll just think, "Oh, I can't get up and walk. I can't write," or something like that. No, He wants to heal you from within, because there was other stuff within me, and that when I allowed Him in, that's when my journey really started, and it transformed me in a slow process. Everybody's different. I've heard people have had conversions, from like a 180 conversion. For me, it was slow, but I don't think that indicates anything at all. It doesn't mean that God's working better or lesser. It's just because He's working with you as an individual. It's how much resistance I was putting in, how much trust I could put into Him, and it was a slow process. But as I went on and I could see Him impacting my life. It's really quite hard to put it all into context in a short space of time, because I could tell you so many stories where once that moment, where that simple lace moment happened, it's only when I look back that I think, oh, He was there, He was there, He was there, because I opened that window to see that He was there. I didn't understand that He was there. And very incidentally, I remember as a kid growing up, and I think people who aren't Christians, we hear that the world is, people are spiritually motivated. They feel more spiritual than anything, but they can't pinpoint their finger on it if God's involved. I used to grow up thinking that, I felt a real presence. There was always a presence. But I put it down, it was my mother. My mother was there with me. Now when I look back on that, I think it was God. I really do believe that was God, because there's things that happened in my life all along, and He was there beside me. It's just that I didn't recognize Him. I didn't receive Him. I didn't look at Him. I want you in my life. So it was a slow process. The prayers were something that came further down the line. And I'm now, because of those incidents and so many other incidents with prayers, I feel that prayer is such a big, important thing with me. It's one of the things that I've tried to learn to do on a theological level and on a spiritual level. And from my heart level, I've pursued that, and I've had so many inroads with that. I've seen so much healing coming through prayer. So prayer was something that was definitely, that came to the forefront of my mind, because there was people praying for me.
Great, thank you, Dean. Thank you for going into detail about how, meeting Jesus, and how realising that Jesus has been working in your life, and you didn't even know it. So thank you for that. In a second, we're going to go to the band, and we're going to sing some more songs. And in a second after that, we're going to go through some questions in the live chat. So if there's no questions on the live chat, we'll have a bit of an awkward moment. So better have some questions. And then we'll ask you why Christmas is so important to you. Over to the band.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, a weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night. And truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. And chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise his holy name, and fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine.
Thank you, Becky, again. And there's some water here, so somehow you're going to have to try and get this water and get back over there without being caught on the camera. So I'm going to ask Dean a question. So Josh, go on, ask Dean a question, and then... Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys for sending in your questions. So we have one about Kirsty in particular, about how did you first meet, and then how was it for her standing by you as you were recovering?
Yeah, good question. I wish she was here because she would tell you in much better detail than I could, but I can only go by what she says and how she felt. I was DJing at the time and in Leeds, and she was a teacher, and she'd been out on a teacher's night. She didn't go out clubbing and that, but she was out this particular night on a Christmas dinner, and she broke away from the group, and she saw me. And this is a bit I enjoyed best, because she said, well, there's two bits. There's one bit I'd really enjoyed, and the other bit I didn't enjoy. She said, oh, there's that really good DJ. And when she told me that, I was all chuffed, and that's good. But she said, there's that little good DJ. So she said, that little DJ. I wasn't so sure about that one. But I remember that's what she said. So we were out one night, and yeah, she was great. You know, yeah, it was a really interesting time, because she was just a great person, and we got on like a house on fire. But I was known in the lead scene. She didn't go out, and it was mayhem for her when I fell, because I crashed, went to hospital. Literally, the word went out through Facebook and everything that I'd been in hospital, and there was people coming up to the hospital, and there was people. She was the front person saying she didn't know anybody, and they were asking, how's he doing? She was overwhelmed with it, and she was totally overwhelmed with it. She was like, yeah, it was very, very hard for her, really hard for her. And then also, she didn't know me that well. She didn't know me, you know, in a long term. We hadn't been living together and that. We'd just been going out a lot. So I think she was really overwhelmed with it. But what she did say was that she felt God, and this was her words. I'll say the best of my ability, is that God said to her, hang in there. It's going to be okay. And that was when I was in a coma. That's what she said, and she stood by that. She said, hang in there. It's going to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Dean. Another one we have here. What would you encourage for a young adult to do when seeking God and hearing his voice in the midst of hard times?
I think we're all going through hard times, and probably in a more heightened state than ever before, and certainly this generation with the pandemic. But within the hard time, we all have our own personal hard times, whether it's been through a hard childhood where we've had experiences in life which has left us in a place of growing up not understanding. It's been ingrained in us. And a lot of us don't even know it's in there. So it develops and quantifies itself in adulthood. And we don't understand why we behave, think, or have relationships in a way that probably is not steady. It's not consistent to expanding, to be a growing relationship. It breaks down. My advice is that everybody's different, like I said before. And even though I try to hide a lot of my pain through keeping myself busy by puffing myself up, getting this image of this person, I know for a fact, so I can speak for myself truthfully, nobody's turned around and told me this, I could only pick myself up by finding God, exploring God, breaking down misconceptions about God, bad teaching, bad press about God and about His kingdom. You know, I think personally speaking, and I speak this from experience, God gets a bad deal here. You know, people say, oh, He's causing this pandemic, He's causing cancer, He's gone. But if you look into it, you know, it's not by face value. Our culture likes to blame. Our culture likes to seek definitive answers. It must be this, it must be that. But we are a very fast culture. We want answers now and here and now. And God is so massive. He's a mystery. And unless you go out to seek Him, you know, He will never force Himself on you. And that's one thing I've learned. And it's about faith, isn't it? It's what you know, what you don't know, and it's trusting. It's about this trust. And it depends on your circumstances. It just depends where you are. I would say don't let misconceptions about church, about what you've been brought up about faith, religion, Christianity. If you've had bad experiences, don't let that be. It's like, you know, sometimes, I don't know, you could go out and somebody will say to you, don't buy that car because it's had bad knocks here, there, and you know, the chassis is bent. But until you go and investigate it, you know it's a good going car. And that's what I did. I went on a journey to find out the God thing. What is it all about? You know, where do I fit into all this? And I went and I did a degree after I fell ill. When I recovered, I did a degree because I wanted to find out. You know, I've been told so many things, but I just needed to know for myself. And if you can find out for yourself, you're not going to cheat yourself, because you are going to be faced with facts, and you will use your own judgment. And trust me, I can speak from it, because you open yourself up. He'll turn up. God will turn up. There's no question about it. All you have to do is just invite Him. Invite Him into your life, and He will turn up.
Yeah, that's a great insight. Thank you, Dean. We'll end on a slightly lighter question. Do you mind people asking about your hands/legs? If that is too personal, what's your favourite cheese?
Oh, well, anything about me now is about my disabilities. It's never off. What's the word? Off limits. It's never. You know, it's hard to really explain this, but people look at me and they think, oh goodness, how does he survive? How does he do this? But I know this because I used to do this myself. When I seen somebody walking down the road in a wheelchair, I didn't know where to look. I didn't know where to give them the old, hi, how you doing, sort of nod thing, or walk on. With me, I've got nothing to hide here, because God's healed me. God's given me the spiritual and inner strength, the way that He made me to be. He healed me. He's come in and given me the transformation. Not just healed me to get up and walk on legs, that I don't have shame, I don't have guilt about the way I look, my appearance. When you look at me, all these photographs before, you know, I was fit athletics and this DJ and stuff, and, you know, tattoos run about. That surely, how do I be like this and be open about this? There's a big statement in that. You know, that's countercultural. You cannot turn around and say to somebody, oh, you've been so great. Either I'm living a lie, I'm a big false person, and when I leave here and I drive home, I'm just a physical wreck. But anybody that knows me out there, I'm consistent. I've never been as much overjoyed to this day as what I am in my condition now. Even when I had all those things in my life, you know, all the accolade, the medal from the Queen, all that thing, it's nothing to me. It's nothing to me. You know, finding God is just like, it's just everything. That is what excites me. I've got more. So when I sit in here now, I've got butterflies. I've got like hair standing on my back because I can feel myself fizzing inside. I sometimes have to stop myself talking because the enthusiasm in me, it's just going on and going on. I can't tell you enough about it. So the cheese, Gorgonzola.
Brilliant.
Great. So the question that we were going to come to after the worship was, why is Christmas so important to you? Why Christmas?
Well, for the Christian community, we know that Christmas is celebration of Jesus, and that's a redemptive storyline that culminates to God giving us a way out where we couldn't do it ourselves, and Jesus comes down to manifest into humanity, to live amongst us and tell us a way of how to live. And that was the gift that he gave us. And then when that then went to the cross, you know, that was our ticket out. So if Jesus wasn't born, he wouldn't have went across. I mean, it amazes me how God, being this God of the universe, that he decides to bring Jesus as a baby, as in a manger that above, like, you know, animals can't find somewhere to go to. It's just like the weakness of it, the frailty of it. Why can he just not come in as this man who's just like full of, you know, power in our world? Why does he not do that? That's the mystery of God. Because he's not like that. He's not a God that comes in heavy-handed. He gives us choices, and he knows that we are frail, you know, as children growing up, that we can look at Jesus and how he lived, and he had his challenges in life as well. So if he wasn't born, I would say I wouldn't be alive today. If I didn't know his story, because I wouldn't have met him, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do it. He is the reason why I'm sitting here, as I said, fizzing up with excitement, because I'm his friend. I talk to him. His spirit lives within me. And these are probably a little bit cliche church language, and I don't want to go down there too much because I come from a very much secular world, but some things you can't get away from. You know, church sometimes can be a little bit, to the person who's not an understanding about faith, it can look a bit overpowering. It doesn't fit. I mean, I feel a little bit like, oh, I don't fit that crew there. What I would say is that if you feel like that, then you're in the wrong place, because nobody should make you feel that your color's not right, your gender's not right, your sexual persuasion isn't right, any of that. If somebody's making you feel ashamed, awkward, anything like that, that's not God's will. That's not Jesus. He's about love. It's about Jesus' love that is the redemption, is the thing that will free us from the life of the way we think we have to live. So the fact that God sends his son because of his love for us, it's a powerful statement. And if you can meet that, if you can see that and bring that into your world, that's where you will be released. That's where I was. So if Jesus wasn't born, if Christmas isn't celebrated, I wouldn't have been saved. And when I say saved, it's looking at me and being transformed inside, not just being healed on the physical side, being healed that I have a purpose in my life. I will say this, that all the experiences in my life have not been wasted, because all those things that I've done, understanding the clubbing world, all that, you know, the hedonistic side of life, I have gained so much experience from that. God can use that for me to understand that culture. I can go to people and I can talk to them, my friends, I can talk to them and say, look guys, you know, he's done it for me. We were all together, we all played together, we partied hard together, but I can show you a way. And he can use all this here to make a statement that I ain't something special by far, but it's through him that I can do all these things. And it's always pointing towards God, that he has given me something that I believe certainly a lot of my friends are looking for, because I was one of them. I was on that side of the fence. And it doesn't just stop there. It's like, I want to be involved in bringing this news to people. That's where I want to do.
Thanks, Dean. So, Josh, anything else happening in the live chat? Any questions?
I was not prepared for this,
Oops,
but
sorry,
it's
Josh.
okay. It's
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, what's it like having a young family at the moment?
Oh, it's great, isn't it? I mean, like, I never expected. So my two kids were born IVF. Our first child, we were in IVF 6 years, I think it was, before Kate, maybe more, 6, 7 years, before Kate was born. God was in that so much as well. You know, he always made promises to me. I felt that, and I was ready, practicing a strong faith in that, and he was always there. Being a father at this stage just has given me, when I look back now, I wouldn't like to be a father when I was out there doing what I was doing. I believe now, I certainly got the wisdom of life, but I've also got God within me, and I see a purpose in them. I can really see that, you know, I can give them a really good start in life. And learning my mistakes, learning all the things that I've come across and the pitfalls and that, I can't stop them growing up, exploring life, but at least I can understand them and give them a real clear way of looking at things in a different perspective. But the excitement of being family, you know, it's amazing. I think this morning when I did a bit of a promo this morning, it was funny because we looked at it and I said you have to excuse me, I'm just going to bed or something like that there. And, you know, so I've gone away from my father duties. I've got, 3 years? 3 months. I mean, it was 4 weeks, wasn't it? I've only had a child for 4 weeks, but my head was all over the place. But that's sleep deprivation, isn't it? That's what that is. But that's all part and parcel of it, you know. So it was good fun. Yeah, it's good fun.
Great. So, yeah, we're getting close to the end. It's getting towards 8:30. And the reason why we're doing this is if you are standing there and asking, what is he talking about? Who is this Jesus guy? Then he wants to be in a relationship with you. He wants to know who you are, and he wants to be your best friends, like Dean said. And yeah, maybe you're sat there and you can relate to a lot of things that Dean is saying. You're saying, yes, I feel lost, I feel broken. And as Dean said, he let Jesus into his life. He asked Jesus to come into his life, and over a matter of time, it healed him. He said it wasn't a quick journey. It wasn't 3 seconds. It wasn't after saying a prayer, everything was fixed. It was a journey and a relationship of getting to know him. And if that is you, then the invitation is there for you right now. You don't need to be in a church. You don't need to, you don't need to have someone there to pray with you. You can do it right over the internet, and that is amazing. Josh, have you got anything to say?
Yeah, I guess in summary, we've been asking the question tonight, why Christmas? And yeah, Dean's done a great job in answering that. The real question is that why did Jesus come down? And for Dean, before he was living a life that was self-governed, and where he didn't have much thought of God, and he seemed to be on top, as he was explaining to us. And then as he was met with a real time of suffering, extreme suffering, that Jesus wasn't waiting around for Dean to change his ways, but he came down and met him where he was. And now we see Dean, a man who has friendship and union with Jesus, as he invited him in. And now he lives a life that's guided by him. He's been blessed with this family that he has, and he'd been liberated from the pain that it seems like he should have been going through with the suffering that was brought his way. And this is just one amazing story of how Jesus has come into someone's life and transformed it by knowing his people. So the question tonight is, where are you in all of this? Are you like Dean was in his early days, with not much thought of who God might be to yourself? Or are you a follower of Jesus that might be distracted from the friendship that you're called to with him? But yeah, Jesus comes down to us so that we may turn away from ourselves and look up to him. That we may begin a new life knowing God personally and being liberated from the pains that might come our way. Being transformed into the likeness of Jesus. The way that we were designed to be, the way that we were meant to live. And tonight the response is quite simple, because Jesus has come down to us at Christmas. And our response can be, just like the shepherds and wise men, to come and visit Jesus and live a life that continually visits Jesus and is spending time getting to know Jesus personally. And we know that we can boldly approach him, knowing that we will not be shunned, but we will be lovingly embraced by Jesus.
Thanks, Josh. And yeah, if you want to do that, as I said, you can do that right now. All you need to do is say, God, please come into my life. Forgive me for what I have done. Yeah, come into my life. I want to be in friendship with you. And if that is what you want to do, then do that. And then message me on Lewis at York Community Church, LOUIS. Blame my parents for that. And then let me know. We'll send you some things to help you. You can go for socially distant walks with people. And you can talk about your next steps. And how to learn more about Jesus. And we've got these fantastic little books that have been brilliantly made in YCC, and they are available for you to take home. Well, we'll send them to you so you can find out more about Jesus. So Josh, do you want to pray for us as we end, and then we'll go to some music?
Yeah, I'd love to. So Father, we thank you for this evening, and we thank you that we're able to hear such an amazing story of you transforming a life and coming to know your son Dean. And yeah, we pray that we might come to know you better and really value that relationship that you have won for us by coming down for us. And I pray for those that may be watching that have only just thought about this, or it may have been a thing for a long time in the back of the mind where, yeah, this is the last resort. You can no longer, as Dean said, puff yourself up to survive. But Lord, I just pray that people would reach out to you tonight, wherever they are, knowing that you have come down for them. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. And Dean, thank you so much for joining us. So thank you. And yeah, we will see you on Christmas Day again, live on YouTube. If you want to come and join us, it's in the same YouTube channel at 10:30 on YouTube. And yeah, have a great Christmas. Over to the band.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. And next year all our troubles troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. And next year all our troubles will be miles away. And once again, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore, and faithful friends who are dear to us gather near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together, if the fates allow. And until then we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. Once again, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us will be near to us once more. Someday soon we'll all be together, if the fates allow. Until then we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
How that in Bethlehem was born the Son of God by name.
words and joy.